well, there's two things about the infrastructure money. Yes, there are missed opportunities in the sense that because we haven't taken bold initiatives in, for instance, in the building sector and how we could do things differently, and I mean across the board in terms of distributed energy generation, water and sewer. There's lots of energy and thus greenhouse gas to be saved in that sector. But the other aspect that we do touch on in my report about the infrastructure that is worrisome, and aside from the mitigation, it's in the adaptation side. We have to get on with a plan for climate change adaptation because the infrastructure we have in existence is built for climate we no longer have. And if we're going to spend another $35 billion on infrastructure, we've got to get a handle on what changes have to be made to the standards to make sure that we adapt to the new climate, the reality. Otherwise, it would be money not wisely spent. And that's another ancillary concern in this regard. Well, interesting enough, the question that relates to what's been the impact of the downturn in the economy, and in fact, this business as usual line from the original, compared to the original forecast in 2007, was much more like this. And so there has been an impact, and it is actually reflected in the government's figures. They've brought the business as usual line down. But that's the kind of magnitude of emissions we're talking about. So there has been an effect, but it's this. It's not this. And so far, I would hope that we don't start heading this direction simply on economic recession. And that's not the way we want to do this. We want to do this by restructuring the way we do business and the way we live our lifestyles. We don't want a collapse in the economy to drive us to those numbers. Well, restructuring is always difficult. I mean, the government's line, and I don't have the economic numbers to comment, verify this or not, but there's no question that restructuring your economy and making a green economy creates jobs. That is, and it also destroys jobs, and that is cool. What is the economic models? What's the balance there? I don't know. I haven't provided any figures in that regard, but there's no question that there is job creation associated with the kind of initiatives that are going on. We see that. We see plants opening, building wind turbines and solar panels right now in Ontario. So to some extent, how significant it is compared to other losses, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, we have to decide as a society whether we're going to address this problem and we're going to participate with the rural community or we're not. Well, that's the choice we have. But we've set some goals and we're not going to meet them in our present plan. I don't think that's an acceptable course of action.
Do you have to understand that, I mean, after closing the coal plants in Ontario, there is no meaningful plans that the government has that will actually reduce prices after that?
After the coal plants close in Ontario, there is no significant initiative that will drop the line further. You can see it right here in the data. So you get your big drop when your coal plants close, some modest decreases, but then between 2014 and 2020, the net effect is an increase. So that's what we need. We need more measures, more tools in the toolkit. We need to have something planned and something on the table so going forward, after 2014, we can keep that line going down. Simply because now we've done, not that the coal closures is an easy thing, but we've done the easy stuff in that sense, and the next level of changes requires big, significant political decisions and potentially a huge change in the status quo. I won't necessarily I won't say it is just a net negative. I don't think it is. I think there's some huge economic opportunities, some positives here. But there's no question these are the tough decisions we have to make about how we move ourselves around, how we move goods around. That's when it starts affecting the status quo. Those are the tough decisions, and we have to face up to that at some point. We'll be thrust into it one way or another, is my expectation. I know it's not an easy thing, but I think going forward we have to have an honest and open discussion, and that's what we're trying to open up here. Well, I would have to say, if I generalize, the Europeans are setting goals and meeting them. Many of the European countries. The Americans, as we know, are doing little. Although the president is going to Copenhagen to talk about it. So if you look around the world, there's a real mixed bag. China and India, of course, continue to expand their emissions at a high rate. So I think, at least the Americans haven't set a number, so they're not meeting their number. When you set a number, there's an expectation from the world to meet the number, and European countries have been doing that.
Where do we sit in terms of the provinces and territories? Are we second after Alberta in terms of greenhouse gases?
Yes, we're in a national scale, after Alberta, we're second in greenhouse gases. And
How close are we to Alberta?
that's actually in the government's climate change plan. It's the graph. It's we're 60 or 70%. Alberta has some very high emissions because they burn coal for electricity and because they have so much oil sands and such. So fairness to Alberta, they're a fossil-based economy where we have nuclear and hydro and such things. So.